Greens. These are collard greens and these are mustard greens. These are the two most popular cooked greens. These are not eaten raw. They do need to be cooked. So I'm going to take you through how to purchase them and how to prepare them the basic way. First, I want to show you don't have to buy them fresh. Down here, I have them in cans. Now, you have to cook mustard greens and collard greens for a while. The canned ones don't taste that much different. So this is a good way to keep them on the shelf and keep it handy. The collard greens particularly, you can find frozen. And usually they're chopped because it's easier to freeze them that way. But they taste just like the collard green that you're going to see today is fresh. So that's a really nice way to handle that. Mustard greens aren't as likely to be frozen because they are a thinner leaf. And let me show you that difference now. Mustard greens are a light yellow and collard greens are a dark green. And I'm sorry, these are a light green. Now, you can tell one real big difference is that these leaves are pretty small compared to a collard green leaf. They're like fans almost. And they're both, though, from the cabbage family. They're both from there. This one, the collard green, is very, very high in vitamin K. You can get 500% of your vitamin K in one serving. Whereas in this one, it's not quite as much, but there is still vitamin K. The other two vitamins they have are A and C. Now, when you get them home, after you've selected them, and when you select them, the only thing you really have to watch out for is yellow leaves. I mean, they'll have yellow, you'll notice that they just don't look green, the right color green. And then usually collard greens are done in a bunch, and these are, that are wrapped. And these are like just a little fluffy little bunch. So when you get these home, you open up the collard greens. And you'll notice they have a big stem going up the middle that you probably will need to take out. So there's those. And as you open them, you can go through. And I don't see any yellow ones in here. Now you do kind of the same thing with mustard greens, except that they're smaller. So you have to open them up and look at them. They come from about this size, sometimes a little bigger on down, and the bunch will have the different sizes. So let's see how to clean them and get them ready to eat. So let's start with the collard greens because they are the ones that are easy to see. Now, when you take out the stem, you want to turn them to the back side. This is the front side, and this is the back side. And that's where the stem is raised. And the first thing you want to do is take that out. So the best, easy way to do it is to fold them in half, right down the stem line, and then start up here at the top where it gets thick, and just pull it down. Get that off. And just keep on pulling it down, and the leaf comes off of the stem. I do not use the stem. Some people do, but I find them tough. And they don't have that much nutrition. Almost all the nutrition is in the leaves. And then, look how big that is. That's still one whole leaf. And so then, you want to just tear that into pieces. And you just tear them. You don't need to use any knife. They tear easily. And I just tear them up. And then you're going to need to put them in water and get the dirt off of them. And the reason why you do it after you tear them up, first of all, is that they fit in the bowl. And second of all, you've been editing it as you go along. You're taking out the ones that are bad. If you find any insects or anything, then you can just tick them off. Okay, that is pretty easy. And it's really easy to do the collard green because of the big stem on the back. But these are just gorgeous. If you want to see a perfect collard green, this is it. They have the big white lines going out. Okay? Now, for the mustard green, you'll notice not quite as defined, especially on the right side. On the back side, it's raised up more. But you'll notice the stem is about the same color as the leaves. So you still start at the top, you just pinch it and pull it off. And then you have the little leaves. Once again, you tear those up just like you did the collard greens and put them in to soak. And the reason why you're doing this is you want to get any dirt off of them that you have. Now you need to soak, I soak them maybe 5 to 10 minutes just to be sure if there's any dirt stuck to it, it'll come off. And the produce nowadays in the stores is so less dirty than it used to be. that it's really almost a pleasure to fix fresh fruits and vegetables now. Okay, so after we've had this soak for a while, for both the collard greens and the mustard greens, we need to change the water at least once. And down in the bottom you will see the dirt. So you want to lift them out of the water. You don't want to pour the water off, and you'll put them in a colander and we change the water and then put them back in. My bowl is actually a little small for my number of leaves I have. So you want to be sure that there's a space at the bottom where there's no leaves so that the dirt can fall down below. And this one doesn't quite have it. I would make it more like that if I was doing it properly, safely. Okay, now you've got them, and you know you don't eat them raw, and you can try it if you want to, but it's not very tasty and they're pretty chewy. So what you do is you put some butter and olive oil in the bottom of a pan, and you get that melted, and then what my mom used to call sweat the garlic, which is what you do is you put a couple of cloves of garlic in the pan that are whole, and you just stir them around in the butter and olive oil. And you really need to have some kind of oil because these are vitamin K and vitamin A, and they are oil-soluble vitamins. And so then you put them in the pan, and when you put them in, this whole pan is full, and then after you've cooked them for a while, they break down. They get smaller. So every time you fill up a pan, you're not going to have, that's probably a serving for 4 people at your house, maybe 6 depending on how much you like it. So this has been cooking here for about 20 minutes. Now, this is not long enough. The one thing about collard greens, and that's what these are, is that they need to cook for a couple of hours. And I know some people say you don't have to, but I'm telling you they're better if they're cooked longer because it breaks down the fibers, because this is high fiber in the leaves, and you want to break that down so it's more digestible, and people will enjoy it more. Now, when you do the same thing with the mustard greens, same thing. They're all going to just sizzle down once you put them in. The interesting thing about the mustard greens is that you usually have to mix them with other vegetables because of their taste. So go to my website and find out a lot more information about greens. They are delicious.